Iverson to the reverse, able to drive past O'Neal.
And this is what Philadelphia will try to do offensively all night. Put Shaquille O'Neal in the screen and roll. Make him come out and have to cover Iverson, which gives him plenty of room to drive to the hoop.
Steve, a lot of teams, as you can see, Fisher missed the jump shot. A lot of teams have a game plan of that, but not a lot of teams have Allen Iverson.
And it was last touch by Payton.
Different angles to make the defense make different decisions. That's how you set the screens if you're trying to involve the big man. Iverson turns the corner, finishes on the other side.
Yeah, advanced scouting is supposed to be a couple weeks in advance, not day of. You're right, he went straight to the media guide, found out what his favorite food was, where he grew up.
Hobbies. Here's Iverson on a quick release. And Allen with 15 of his 25 points in the fourth quarter, leading the East to a 21-point comeback victory over the West. One of the best all-star games in the history of the Classic. It was a shootout at the end involving Kobe Bryant, Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson. Iverson receiving the MVP.
And I think you need to choose your battles. I mean, to get ejected over a lane violation when a team is already thin with injuries, it's a terrible decision by Gary Payton. You don't go after Joe Crawford. Every player in the league knows that, especially a veteran guy who's been around as long as Payton has.
And you can see Gary Payton try to explain himself to Phil Jackson. As you mentioned, this team is hard hit by injury. Even Kareem Rush a question mark, although he's dressed for tonight. He was on crutches the other day due to a sprained ankle. Payton coming off a very strong game in Cleveland last night at a season-high 30. Here he is ejected in the first quarter.
Well, if I was going to mention a couple moments ago that it almost looked to me like every time down the floor, I expected the ball to go into Shaquille O'Neal. The adjustments in their offense with Kobe Bryant missing, okay? Now, with Payton being ejected, how much further are they going to go as far as taking this ball pounding it inside type of attitude and keep getting it to Shaq? Because, as you mentioned, 30 points last night for Payton.
Well, let's take a look at the violation, and didn't look like much. Payton was inside that three-point line. The referees always will tell the player, stay outside that three-point line. It rarely turns into a lane violation, usually just a warning.
And then Payton had something to say. He was hit with a technical and continued to talk about it. And he was teed up very quickly a second time, and he's gone. Maurice Carter, the rookie from LSU, has checked in. Phil Jackson out to talk with Joe Crawford, and he's saying, why? Why was he tossed? 2:52 to go in this first quarter. Philadelphia with an 18-8 lead.
Up 18-8. We'll show you where this whole thing started with Gary Payton and Iverson. You see Iverson with the ball at the foul line. He's actually looking over to his right-hand side. And whether or not he is saying something to Gary Payton, who's about to walk into the screen and take this spot, we don't know that from here. But you'll see Payton come in. Iverson says something, shoots it, turns to the left to the official, says something just before he lets it go. Now you see that Payton is still talking, still has something to say on the second shot after Payton was maybe upset with the foul call, still talking right now to the official. After this miss, that's when the whistle blows, and that's when the violation is called, and an ensuing next free throw took place. That's when Payton gets a technical and then eventually is ejected.
And as we mentioned, Gary Payton coming off one of his best games of the year, season-high 30. Last night against the Cavaliers. For more on that incident that we just saw. Meanwhile, Maurice Carter, who just checked in, playing only his third NBA game, is able to connect on the jumper. He's a rookie from LSU. For more on the Gary Payton situation, let's go to Craig.
Well, during that timeout, Marv, the team was gathered around. They said, what happened? What happened? And Rick Fox said, basically, he thinks that Gary Payton laughed at Joey Crawford. And when Joey Crawford saw he was laughing at him, he gave him a technical. Then after that, he said a curse word to get the second one. Now remember, he was ejected early in a game back on December 12th by Steve Javie for getting a technical, then throwing the ball at Javie. That was a game in which they lost to Dallas 110-99.
All right, thanks, Craig. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in this First quarter, Shaq not able to get going after the sensational night last night in Cleveland, and he's headed back to the line. McCaskill called on the foul. Shaq is 1 of 4.
No Kobe, no Malone, no Payton. I don't think there's anything extra that Shaq is carrying as far as the load goes right now.
Well, to get back for a second to the Gary Payton situation, there's one thing every player learns in the first week of training camp. Don't mess with Joey Crawford. Don't mess with Steve Javie. Payton's been hit twice by these guys here in the season so far.
And Steve, apparently another lane violation against the Lakers on that last free throw attempt, although Shaq misfired anyway. So Shaquille is 1 of 6 at the line here at the start. Fox called on that foul. It has just been a terrible first quarter for the Lakers.
10 points in 10.
Everybody over there. It don't matter who's the best side. East side, west side. Well, come on. Everybody put your hands up. Everybody have a good time. Let's hear it. Get your party
Back in
on.
Philadelphia, 15-point lead for the Sixers over the Lakers at halftime. As we welcome you back, Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, the Czar, Mike Fratello, Craig Sager getting ready for the second half. And Steve, we're seeing what both teams wear, as they call them, the throwback uniforms from the mid-'60s. We are seeing the Lakers play a throwback style game to the mid-'60s.
You know, sometimes you can look at the stats and you can analyze the game any way, which way you want, but it comes down to putting the ball in the basket. That's what this game's about. Lakers shooting 27% from the floor. Shaq 2 for 13 from the foul line. You just can't win doing that.
Well, you know, you got a real problem when you shoot the ball at 27%. And in all honesty, for the Sixers, they have responded to Allen Iverson's statement. I know that the Lakers are short-handed, Steve, but look at the way they're playing with a purpose, playing with high energy, coming up with the old defense right now. And as they said, they could win 4 straight going into the All-Star break to turn this thing around. They have a struggling Boston team at home next, go to a red-hot New Jersey team, then come back home here against Washington before the break.
Let's take a look at the halftime stats. Steve mentioning the shooting percentages. Well, the Lakers just 10 for 36 from the field for the 28%. How about free throws? 8 for 21. You mentioned 2 of 13 for Shaq. His all-time worst, he had an 0 for 11 against Seattle. December of 2000, he had a 7 for 22 against Houston. Shaq in the first half, 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 13 from the line. Allen Iverson, high point man, with 20 points. Let's go to Craig.
Well, Marv, what does the coaching staff tell a team after a halftime performance like that? That's what I asked, and I was told nothing. Phil Jackson feels they are still within striking distance, and they still can get back in the game. He said the only thing we have to do is start making free throws. So they try to make a positive note of being down by 15.
Here's Kenny Thomas to get the third quarter underway. For those who may have just tuned in, Gary Payton was ejected on consecutive technical fouls late in the first quarter. The Lakers shorthanded, as it is going into tonight, without Kobe Bryant, Karl Malone, Rick Fox just making it back, only a 6-game back. That's the rookie Carter firing one up. Kareem Rush bothered by a sprained ankle. He was on crutches the other day. He's missed the last couple of games. He's on the bench and in uniform, but it appears he will not see any action. So it's a backcourt of Fisher and Carter for the Lakers. Big dog Robinson with 15 points, 48-29. The 76ers matching their biggest lead of the night. Medvedenko, O'Neal, and Fox up front. Shaq with the head fake. Beautiful reverse by Shaquille O'Neal.
You think of the agility of that man to go quickly to the baseline, spin, and bring it up on the other side of the rim and reverse it in.
The 76ers at 20-29. That's 10th in the Eastern Conference. Game and a half behind 8th place Boston. Celtics have lost 5 in a row. Robinson again. Sixers have dropped 6 of their last 7, 8 of the last 10. And the Lakers take an early third quarter timeout. A 20-second timeout taken by Phil Jackson. A look at the Eastern conference playoff race. Indiana with the best record in the conference at 36-14. As I mentioned, Philadelphia in the number 10 slot. And after the loss this past Tuesday night here at home to Toronto, Allen Iverson, as we talked about at the start of the telecast, said after the game, we are playing with no heart, no pride at all.
You see some of those teams that are in the playoff standings. New Orleans has just gone through a real tough stretch. Their starting backcourt has basically been out. David Wesley and Baron Davis with injuries. The New York Knicks are on a hot streak playing, very, very good basketball. Miami hit with another blow. Dwayne Wade goes back out again after he just returns from the wrist injury. He has a mid-foot sprain now. They were playing very good basketball, winning 5 out of 6 games.
And as Randy Ayers pointed out to us at shoot-around, they're only a game and a half out of the 8th and final playoff spot. So if they can get things going, they're certainly in the hunt.
Iverson and Snow at the guards. Here is Iverson firing. And Philadelphia has come out red hot. In this third quarter, they add to the lead, 52-31 Sixers.
I think Phil Jackson took that quick timeout because he understood, he realized that he didn't stop Philadelphia from scoring baskets, and he had to get the message across to his team. It's just going to be too late for them to make that many points up.
Iverson looking to use the pick. Benko with the rebound. Lakers at 29-17. They started the season at 18-3, so since then they have won only 11 and dropped 14, and this is game 4 of a 7-game road trip. Carter able to get inside. Maurice Carter, the rookie from LSU, getting the playing time here tonight.
Well, nice execution in the half court, but you can see without Payton, without Kobe Bryant, there's just no thrust to the Laker attack, and they're not getting anything out of the fast break. Everything becomes a slow-down, half-court situation, and with Shaq missing his free throws, they're just having a tough time scoring.
Iverson able to go glass. 24 points for Iverson.
We saw in that last series for the Lakers, one thing we failed to mention last night, besides the great numbers that Shaq had in points and rebounds and minutes, he also had 6 assists.
Carter being stripped and last touched by the Lakers.
Carter can't believe the call from Benny Adams, but as a player on a 10-day contract, I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of respect out here. You have to earn it.
76ers have dropped 5 of their last 6 at home. Iverson with a nice move.
Frankly, the first 4.5 minutes of the half has been atrocious.
This is Medvedenko. And Carter misfires. Iverson, yes. 76ers with a 60-36 lead.
You were watching Iverson shoot today at the shoot-around, and you saw something in his hands, left hand versus right hand. A little bit different release on Iverson's shot, but pretty good making them, huh?
Yeah, he's a rhythm shooter. He uses a little bit of that left hand to help guide the ball, which I think leads to some of his slumps, but he's got so much ability to create space to get that shot off, and then he uses his athleticism and his rhythm from his game to really get himself going. Really a streaky guy.
And Iverson went through a stretch searching for that offensive rhythm. That will count, and a foul. Iverson had been out 3 weeks with a bruised knee, played through a sore hip. Said he went through several games where the game seemed a bit fast for him.
Now he knows how the rest of us feel playing against him.
Robinson at the line, and with double technicals, consecutive technical fouls, ejected. Shaq just 12 points and 2 of 13 at the line, and the Lakers only 31% shooting.
Well, let me deal with that Gary Payton ejection for a second. Joe Crawford, the official that ejected Payton came over at halftime. They went in and reviewed it. He heard the comments that we made, and he just wanted to clear up that it happened initially because the second free throw was awarded for disconcerting the shooter, which means as a player is ready to shoot a free throw, if somebody on the free throw line suddenly raises their arms up in the air or starts waving it or starts yelling at him and he misses the shot, that's disconcerting, and they give him another free throw. So you see the shot go down with the 24-second buzzer about to expire. So that was the reason that Joe Crawford gave him the next free throw. Gary Payton then used language that was not acceptable. That's where eventually the ejection came from. So Joe Crawford just wanted to clear that up.
Unacceptable language. That'll usually do it.
We'll usually do it. I think we can figure out what he said, but perhaps we shouldn't mention it.
Jump ball is called. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the third. Marv Albert with the czar, Mike Fratello, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager. Lakers take a timeout. The 76ers.
The segment was exactly.
But you are a walking idle thought. Shot clock down to 4. Sixers continue to hit their shots. Snow has 8 points. Iverson is the high man with 28. Robinson has 20, and it's a 25-point game.
When you go back to the coach at UCLA, you know, in this time of greed that everybody wants so much, so more, he was willing to turn down the extension and until they get those goals that they're after.
I know you've looked at this very, very thoroughly. I know all the ramifications as Carter is able to hit.
Just doesn't seem like the biggest story that's going on around. I mean, Lieberman, okay. I understand that's a big story. It's a nice gesture by Carl Durrell, but...
Well, let me just say this. The biggest story that's going around right now, we want to stay away from. Okay, we need to stay away from it because it's too much.
Allen Iverson with 30.
I was just going to say, ooh, Iverson, but it already has caught too many of the headlines and too much controversy, so we'll stay away from what the biggest story was this past week.
Which was?
Give you a hint, Marv had to do something with the Super Bowl.
All right, Fox gets inside. Robinson with the feed, and Dallenberg is able to put it down, so the 76ers with a 71-44 lead, and we have hit early extensive garbage time as Medvedenko rims out.
So has our conversation, hasn't it?
There's Dallenberg blowing the stuff. Medvedenko and O'Neal able to finish. So the Sixers now lead at 71-46. And Allen Iverson with 32 points, 13 of 23 from the field. He's hit 6 of 8 here in the third quarter.
Fisher trying to go over the top of the screens that they're setting for Iverson. He is so far away as the basket goes in by Medvedenko. He'll have the opportunity for the three-point play. But Fisher trying to force the fade by Iverson. If you're going to come over the top, you've got to come over and close down quickly. You can see Fisher so far behind. Iverson gets a wide open look at the basket.
Guys low 70 points. Game in Cleveland, November of 2002. They had a season low 72 the other night against the Pacers. Fouls called on Thomas. A very long night for Phil Jackson and his team.
Yeah, and you know, around the country, as people are writing articles, I think that there are those who are taking some cheap shots at Phil Jackson, saying basically, like, sure, it's great with all the great players he's had healthy and they're winning all those games. But now, with the good players injured, suddenly the Lakers aren't winning the way that they're supposed to in those people's minds. I don't care who it is. When you've got that type of talent missing from the team, okay, you just don't go out and win games at the pace that the Lakers are winning. This guy is a great, great coach. He has been a great coach. And as soon as they get the guys back and get a chance to work together for a little bit, you'll see the Lakers back on a tear again.
Well, it always amuses me when people say, well, yeah, you're winning these championships, but look who you have. Nobody else won championships with all these players that he's had in Chicago or in Los Angeles. So He's an incredible coach. There's no doubt about that.
Iverson has 36 points. He is 15 for 25 from the field. 16 have come here in the third. He's 8 for 10 from the field in the third quarter.
You know, you go into a game as a coach and you draw up your game plan and you hope to give Iverson shots early on and hope that he's missing those shots, not making them from the outside so that he doesn't get to the rim, obviously, and all that penetration. But when he's feeling it like this and you see him hopping up and down, then you as a player have to get up into him more, force him to put the ball down on the floor and get your help from your teammates defensively.
Shaquille O'Neal is 2 of 14 at the line. Tomorrow night on ESPN, it's the Magic and the Nets, followed by the Spurs and the Kings, starting at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And
we'll say, then you have to get to the low post position and you give up the throwback to your big man who's standing outside. But if you throw it back, you're not worrying about Dellenbear shooting a jump shot from the outside. And if somebody starts making shots, then you start to rotate to him and help out.
Nice play by Thomas, so the Sixers maintain possession.
Shooting for 37 points in just 36 minutes.
3 minutes gone in the first quarter, hit with the double team. Coming up on 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Carter passed on the shot, and he thought he was tripped up. Iverson gives it back. Robinson from Iverson, and the Lakers will talk it over.
Unless there's someone underneath the player dunking the ball, then he's not allowed to hang up there, twist and turn the way Robinson did. I apologize for saying I didn't think there was one. I was looking at the players walking off the floor. I didn't think that the official had hit any of the players with technicals. It was in reference then to the hanging on the rim.
No need to apologize. I didn't take offense to that.
Well, some people are very sensitive about it.
No, I think that the Czar should just apologize in general.
Well, we're used
for tonight's performance.
We're used to him doing 21 points with 5 minutes or so to go, and every coach has seen that miracle loss, and they always have that in the back of their minds, and that's why they're so hesitant to take their star player out in situations like this.
I've been through it. Up 18 points with 4 minutes remaining, 4.5 minutes remaining, wind up losing a game in overtime.
And Iverson is fouled. Foul on Russell.
Look at this list. What's amazing to me about Allen Iverson, when you compare him to all these other guys, he's tiny. He's a tiny guy. He weighs about 160 pounds. The three guys in the middle there, former Lakers, Shaq and Elgin Baylor, and of course, Michael Jordan, the most athletic of the group. But Allen Iverson, just a little wisp of a man out there, and flying by everybody, going to the rim. It's just amazing that he can throw his body around that way and score this many points night after night.
Iverson with 39 points on the night. And Allen Iverson, Steve, is the all-time all-star scoring leader. He averages 23 a game. He's moved in front of Kobe Bryant and Oscar Robertson. Of course, that also has to do with volume of shots. And now Allen Iverson will sit down. 15 of 29 for 39 points, along with 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. And this performance comes as a follow-up to Iverson lashing out as a teammates following the loss to Toronto this past Tuesday night, saying they played with no heart, no pride, and a good bounce-back game, although they were going against a shorthanded Laker team that became even more shorthanded late in the first quarter when Gary Payton was tossed.
Bad judgment by Payton. They needed him desperately in this game, and he was gone in the first quarter.
Willie Green, the rookie from Detroit Mercy, has come on for Iverson as Aaron McKee is the Sixers with a 96-73 victory. Lakers only 28 of 82 from the field, 34% shooting. It is their worst loss of the season.